So thank you so much for joining me today. If you could just start off by telling me a little bit about what your company is and what you guys do, that would be great.
Yeah, well, okay, so my name's Neil Pollitt and I am the Assistant Director of Business Transformation at First Choice Homes Oldham, and I've been with the business for just under 4 years. So First Choice Homes is in, obviously, the public sector. We were part of Oldham Council about, I think it's maybe 6-7 years ago at some point, when they came out of the council and then set up as a housing association. So First Choice Homes is a housing association primarily. We have about 11,300 properties. So all based in Oldham. So very much an Oldham anchor institution is how they describe it. And the main business is literally providing safe, secure and affordable homes to tenants. And so that is social housing in a nutshell. The main aim is to collect the income from tenants and then use that income in order to reinvest in the properties. So it's a not-for-profit organisation. We don't make money and give it to shareholders. The money goes back into providing housing. Now, as well as that, there are a couple of other areas in the business. It's not just that, that's the core business. We also develop new housing. So there's a development plan to build, I think, about 800 new homes in Oldham over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. And that program's been going on for a couple of years now, and we've built a good few hundred homes. As well as building new homes and providing those homes, we obviously have to look after them. So we have a repairs team that go out and repair properties and maintain them. So do gas checks and safety checks. We also do what's called, in the strategy, is what's called looking around the community. And so we have a lot of community work going on as well within Oldham. So we work with partners, certainly Oldham Metropolitan Borough Council and other partners, to make sure that Oldham try and make it a thriving community. Because as we know, for those that do know, obviously Oldham is a fairly deprived area when compared to other towns and cities across the country. And we do have some quite high levels of deprivation. So there's a lot of work that goes on to support communities, and that takes the form of things like we have a directions team who help people with getting into work. So they help with CV writing and skills and training. Wow. and then actually go and helping them with job interviews and getting them on the job ladder. So we have a nice team that supports people in that way. We also do quite a bit with things like, I don't know if people have heard about it, but there's a good scheme now that the team have worked up called the Bread and Butter Offer, which is working with, again, food distributors to get high quality food for a low cost. And I think, tenants can join that scheme and pay, I think it's about £7 a week, and receive food up to about £20 odd worth of food. Wow. So again, what they're trying to do is really just help people in the community, whether that's anti-poverty type work. We have a lot of stuff where we have community centres. So again, working with the community to get clubs and social clubs up and running, and just trying to make, one of the objectives is to make it a thriving community. So support the community, all that, and that's, so it's a very nice place to work in that sense. It's about giving something to tenants and making Oldham a vibrant and thriving place.
Oh, amazing. And I love the fact that you guys are based in the heart of Oldham. I feel like with some big companies that do as much work as you guys do, it's very easy for them to be based out in Manchester or in the city centre, but you guys aren't. You guys are based right in the heart of Oldham. I'm sure our students have walked past your buildings every single day, most of them. And I love the fact that, you're for the community, you're working within the community, and you're right there, you're right on that community's doorstep. That's amazing. So obviously we're talking today about the T level, and the first T level that Oldham Sixth Form are introducing is the digital T level. Could you maybe touch upon how First Choice Homes works digitally, and maybe has that changed due to the coronavirus situation? How have you guys adapted to work more digitally?
Yeah. So So yeah, absolutely. A couple of things on that. I mean, in terms of when we went to lockdown, First Choice Homes was already pretty well established in terms of kind of IT infrastructure and the ability for staff to work from home on occasion. So very easy to log in using software that allows you to connect to work and work from home. So the company had made some investment in that in the past. So what it meant actually was when we did the lockdown in March, it was very easy for us to move and get people working from home. By the way, the office environment is really nice as well. So obviously we'll come on to that. But in terms of the centre of Oldham, first place, the actual office, again, was purpose built a few years back. So it's a very nice environment. But absolutely everyone is now where they can work from home, are working from home. So that was quite a seamless thing in terms of people giving people equipment. I think the biggest issue we've seen is not the technology, has been kind of the home space, the environment. So people, we've done some we've done some staff surveys to find out how people are coping, and it's really good that way that First Choice Homes looks after its staff and really cares about how people are feeling. So technology-wise, it's been easier to connect and work. But I think for some people, if they've got children in the household and they've not got an office space, it can be difficult. And obviously they've got to be able to connect to the internet. So that's something that we've been looking at. And obviously, I think most companies are the same. I think people are finding that you are missing some of that office interaction, certainly when it comes to project work, and certainly, working in technical teams, you do want to get together and drive solutions. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but technically wise, it's been okay. In terms of the other question around how do we use digital and what I think is happening across the sectors now and across the world really is, I think the forced change has meant that people have become much more comfortable with things like video conferencing and technology. And also, I think some of the business models have changed, that people are probably having to go quicker with maybe some of the digital transformation that they were planning to do. Everyone has it in their plans and everyone wants to become more digital because obviously that's the way the world is moving. But I think, companies are probably looking to maybe accelerate some of those plans. And we're no different in the sense that, of our strategic plan and our IT strategy, we've got sort of two elements to kind of digital transformation. One is very much customer led. So that's about putting services and technology into customers' hands, but obviously only when it makes it better for customers and makes it easier for them to do business. So we're not forcing customers, a bit like, I think back in the day, the banks closed all the branches and felt that it was, they were disappearing out of town centres and the banks were getting bad press for that. But I think most people will probably say now that actually when you look at the apps and the way you've got face recognition and the ability to transfer money to different people, they've actually made it quite an easy and nice experience to bank online. It's easier. Whereas if you go back 10, 20 years on banking, you had to have like a card reader and type things in, and it was clunky and people didn't like it. They'd rather go to the branch. So we're exactly the same. We're trying to get customers to be able to sort of log a repair, to check the rent, to pay the rent, to do things that they would do with housing, but we've got to sort of make sure that it's not difficult for them and there's no barriers. So we've got lots of work and lots of projects doing that type of work where we're trying to get customers to be able to say, transact digitally. But also the other big side of it is colleagues. We obviously want staff to be able to work in a very seamless and digital way. So again, examples of where we do that is if we've got neighbourhood officers, so if we've got people that work out in people's houses or they go visiting tenants, then we need to make it easy for them to be able to record that information in the systems. So, whereas in the past it would have been very paper-based and they would have been writing things down and then typing it in when they got back to the office, we're trying to make it seamless so that when they're out in the field, if they do visit somebody, they can actually do it in their environment and it'll get pushed straight into the system. So they're not having to retype it twice, 3 times. So there's two nice angles for digital transformation: customers, colleagues, but ultimately it's about you only using technology where it makes things better. Either improves the customer experience or it saves us time and effort and cost and it's less bureaucratic, which means if we're more efficient, we can spend more time with customers that need our help. That's the aim.
Yeah, definitely. It's about looking for areas of innovation and applying that to you guys and your sector. And like you say, both the clients that you have and your colleagues as well. Could you tell me why you felt becoming a business partner for the T levels was so important?
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 things really. I mean, firstly, it's in the centre of Oldham, and obviously we are, as we said, an anchor institution in Oldham. You know, we have targets, strategic targets to make sure that we spend a significant proportion. I think it's about 55% of what we spend in Oldham. So that applies to who we source goods from, suppliers, contractors, and staff. So we have a lot of staff that obviously live and come from Oldham. So it felt right when we got approached about the T levels. Obviously, this was something that was in Oldham. It was, you know, younger people who are going to be on this T level. So we thought it was a great opportunity to be part of that and support the local economy and the local students. I think at the same time, there is a quid pro quo in the sense that obviously, if we get young people who are skilled in the latest digital technologies, then it's a great opportunity for us to grow that supply of technology of individuals, which means that there's a great opportunity that they may take a role with us in the future, which would be good. And so, yeah, I think it was definitely that, and I think also, as I said before, the fact that technology is growing, you know, moves so quickly, and the techniques and the advancements, that I think it's great that we've actually got a T level in Oldham, focusing on an industry that is only going to grow. You know, the world is clearly very, very digital. You know, you look at the electric cars, every sector, every area of life. You know, technology is making sort of big enhancements. So yeah, it's good to be part of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity for these students, like you say, who may be from Oldham, they're studying in Oldham, they've maybe not really thought about going anywhere else. And it can be quite daunting in, like you say, an industry that is quite competitive and is growing and changing very, very quickly. It can be quite daunting to think, oh, I'd want to be in that industry, want to get started with my career with digital, but I don't know where to start. And the fact that they can start right here in the town that they know, working with someone that knows the town and knows the community and knows that energy of these students is simply, I just think it's a great opportunity for them.
Great, yeah.
So I think you've touched upon it a little while ago, but my next question is what you think the future of digital or the digital industry looks like. You did talk about it.
Yeah, I touched on it earlier. I think it's a very difficult one in terms of it changes so quickly, doesn't it? I was thinking about this only last night. You know, I wouldn't say I'm a major techie person. I my background is finance originally, so I'm an accountant, but I'm responsible for transformation, which is, but people will probably say, yeah, you do like your technology, your gadgets, and I thought to myself this week, about, when I look at it, I've got quite a few Alexa devices in the house. I can talk to Alexa. I've got my lights can come on. I can tell him to set the heating. I've got a robot Hoover. I can tell. But these sound like very, very clever things. And basically, I'm not that clever when it comes to tech. I've got a lot of guys in the team who are very technical and good at what they do. But I just got these devices and plugged them in, basically. And they're not very expensive. So that's for me is what's frightening, is that, I've been able to get all these gadgets and they're not expensive, and yet it all works really seamlessly. And you think to yourself, this would have been 10 years ago, you'd have been scratching your head saying, no, that's not possible. Now it's become the norm. In fact, you can ask Alexa anything and probably it gives you a good answer. It's searching these AI models are getting so strong and so powerful. They've got, without going into it all, you've got quantum computing that IBM and a couple of others are saying they've made some breakthroughs in. And when that comes through, Elon Musk was on, I think, a couple of months ago talking about, he was saying that they're close to having, humans connected to the World Wide Web through sensors in the brain. I mean,
oh wow, that's just scary.
And but he's saying and you think, well, if he's saying it, he's probably got demos of it. It's not far away. So I think that digital and technology is what you can dream of, isn't it? I mean, how far can it go? It's exponential, but I think for what I'm saying for students is it's an exciting place to be, because look, it's a growing industry, isn't it? It's whichever walk of life. And I also think, going back to what we just said, I think there's so many facets of it that people think they might see some cool examples of it, but it's everywhere from just websites to apps to proper AI and machine learning. There's so many different elements and really applications for technology that being in that industry, I think it is, for me, would be an exciting place to be if I was growing up, and it'd be a course that I'd be very much interested in, because, as I say, you look at just even if you go into finance, databases, spreadsheets, any sort of data-led business where information is key to running that. And I think you hear companies talk about that a lot now, about information and information management being the sort of differentiator for a lot of companies, because you can spin up websites so quick, you can source products so quick, that the competitive advantage tends to be about data and being able to understand what's happening in your business. A lot of my background has been in data and BI, business intelligence and analytics. So that's what really got me interested in sort of uses of data. So I've come from kind of probably that side of it, really excited by advancements in some of the data warehousing and the predictive modeling and the Azure and things like Google and Amazon in terms of some of the systems that they're offering. But I just think, for technology and the sector, with the kind of environment that's there now, it's a very, very exciting place to be for young people.
Yeah, definitely. And it's those young people that really are going to benefit from this, the digital T-level especially. We're looking at students who are already enthusiastic, already intrigued by maybe some of the gadgets that you mentioned there. And these students want to know more. They're so passionate. They want to know how it works, what the coding behind it is, what programming it's used, and what's it developed from, and what's the next step in that development. And all the stuff behind those gadgets before someone like yourself goes and buys it and plugs it in. And I just think it's an amazing course for these students to really channel that enthusiasm and learn more, and then hopefully, like you said, go on to do amazing work and have really successful careers. Coming on from that, what do you think a student will gain from a work placement with First Choice Homes? I
think they gain some very practical experience, but I think more so the environment's very nice. The business, we're not a profit business. We're not selling something, and it's not cutthroat sort of sales orientated. So very much like a family. The team are really great in terms of the IT, the BI team, the transformation team. So get well looked after. I think we were quite organised, so we plan it in to make sure that the day was varied. I know that's one of the questions about what a typical day like. But it'd be, as you'd expect in a team like us, we'd plan things in. We'd make sure they were getting looked after. They'd gain from, we've got a lot of experience in the team. We've got some really different roles. So we've got some very good technical people on the data side of it, building data warehousing and really some fairly sophisticated stuff that we're doing now on that in terms of analytics and Power BI and some latest tools. And then we've also got kind of application developers who are developing apps for systems. Then we've got IT infrastructure people who look after the hardware and some of the servers and the technology and the connectivity. So we've got good people in different areas. So I think what we would do is obviously give them the opportunity to work across that and get a good grounding in all those different disciplines while they're there, and obviously focus on the things that they're interested in. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for someone to come into First Choice Homes.
Yeah, and I mean, for these students especially, it's always a great opportunity to get real life work experience. if you're a student that maybe hasn't had taste of the working world yet, it can be an amazing opportunity to get that while you're at college. You don't have to do that afterwards, to start off on your career maybe. As an employer, how vital is that work experience for these young people to have?
I think it's really important, isn't it? I mean, I think to get into an area, to be able to just come in. I mean, when I look back, when my first days, I think I probably went from university. I had sort of part-time jobs, but I can't remember actually going in and doing a placement like this where you would get, a good chunk of time with employers to get a feel for it. So I think it'd be good for these kids, because one, it gives them a sense of what work life's like, what's it like in the environment, and it will probably help them in terms of shaping whether it is an industry that they want to be in. So they'll get a feel for it. So I think it is important. I think, going back to the other question again about what we get from working with us, I think the other benefit of working for someone like FCHO or coming in to do a placement there is because we're fairly small relative to sort of some of the big companies, we can get stuff done, which I found really pleasing. So I've been there just under 4 years, and I've come from the banking sector. So I worked for 20 years in banking, and big banks, to do projects and to do IT, it's very slow because everything needs to be going through various different committees and before it even gets somewhere. Whereas in my team, we can move things forward very, very quickly. So I think the other thing they would get is we'd identify something that they could start and see through, and actually see a full development life cycle, or a piece of work, whether that's an app or something around the website or some sort of digital development. But I think being able to see that from start to finish, and actually have something that they can then be proud of, I think we can actually see that as well. So I think they gain a lot from the placement. But yeah, I think it's important for children to come in and experience that workplace environment, see what it's all about.
It sounds amazing. It sounds like such an amazing opportunity, like we said, right in the heart of their community that they're already a part of, making the most of this opportunity to have real life, hands-on work experience in a sector that they're studying, in a fast-paced, varied environment as well, that hopefully they'll take away some amazing experiences from. That's all my questions, Neil. Thank you so much.